Hello everyone, and welcome to the 12th rip-off episode of Analyzing Evil, featuring Mollie Damon from Star Wars Explained. A stuck-up, entitled, and money-hungry bitch who, alongside her husband/brother Alex, actively worked to get various channels demonetized out of sheer spite, stemming from petty jealousy, and as well as that, selfishness. Today, we will analyze Mollie Damon and rip her a new one. Now, I never expected to talk about Mollie Damon so quickly after Alex. I was planning on doing Bob Iger next, actually, and as most of you will know, I don't genuinely think most of the people we talk about in this series are evil. I always knew Alex Damon was a delusional sellout, but now with the information that's come out, now we can say that Alex, and by extension Mollie, are genuinely evil. So let's begin. Before the big controversy, Mollie Damon was Alex's blood sister, whom she proceeded to marry. Gross. She subsequently became involved in her brother's YouTube channel, and like Alex, became one of Disney's top shills, as well as incessantly political. It's commonly said that Mollie is Alex's slave master essentially. And in my previous video, I explained how Alex is still culpable in his own failings. However, the both of them have now been caught in the biggest blunder they've ever gotten, and they damn well deserve it, given the severity of their actions. While not 100% confirmed, it is highly speculated that either Alex or Mollie wrote a letter to YouTube, starting off with citing Amanda Stenberg, a known racist, crying about racism on Instagram. Although obviously Stenberg's racist tendencies were not highlighted. We also get direct requests to demonetize channels such as Geeks and Gamers, RK Outposts and Nerdotic, and even name drop Star Wars Theory. While both Alex and Mollie straight up denied sending the letter, they very much admitted to endorsing it, which is quite simply evil. But why? Why exactly would they want to have these channels demonetized? Well, it's nothing more than jealous spite. Star Wars Theory made a video showing how Dumb and Dumber were obsessive hypocrites. Theory shared stories about how Alex was so delusional and obsessed with YouTube's success, even though he is one of the biggest Star Wars channels on YouTube and was well off already. Yeah, Alex and Mollie didn't want a lot of money and views. They wanted all the money and views. And that's despite them being pretty successful themselves. I criticize Star Wars Explained for being an unremarkable, boring channel. How they release low effort, low quality videos every day, which while lazy, completely sustain them. They have no right to complain about anything. They had a first world problem. And it's clear that even if they were at the top of the Star Wars food chain, it wouldn't be enough, or even that it would inflate their already enlarged egos. So karma came around like a freight train when the pair were ridiculed for, at the very least, supporting a failed demonetization campaign against other YouTubers. Mollie is one of the biggest hypocrites on YouTube. She's become so entrenched in her own delusions that she fully and confidently believes that she can do no wrong. She can never take criticism, as one of the things she's most famous for is blocking other people on Twitter for mere disagreements. Something which she continues to do to this day. Now the backlash has come, and now Star Wars Explained is bleeding subscribers. And I imagine they'll get nowhere near the amount of likes and views they did previously. And you know, why should they? They tried to ruin people's careers. So what has Star Wars Explained tried to do in the wake of all this backlash? Try to roll past it and pretend nothing happened, of course. It's a tactic that never works, and it's usually what a lot of YouTubers who get exposed doing scummy things attempt, seeing if they can still post videos. So far, it doesn't seem like it. Now sometimes, YouTubers can make mistakes, that they can have an error in judgment or say something wrong, or get caught in a rabbit hole of bad choices after the first one. I've been in that camp myself, and I'm sure most people have. I've gotten angry, spiteful, doubling down on bad conduct that just builds on top of itself, but I at least have the introspection to stop, admit one's mistakes, and move forward, and show active steps to improve. But I don't think Mollie or Alex Damon have such values instilled within them. They were already disliked by many people for being soulless Disney shills. People already knew about some of their spats with Star Wars theory and channels ridiculing the current state of Star Wars, and they took no steps to improve from that. And it's not like it would be hard. The first step is to prioritize quality over quantity, and to do that, you should probably stop posting daily videos. It's been revealed that Alex in particular actually messaged Star Wars Theory in an attempt to get him to share his secrets. And knowing what we know now, it was never an attempt between two creators to share tips and tricks that would benefit both parties. With all that information now out, what exactly goes in Mollie Damon's head specifically? Well, here's my answer. It's entitlement. Mollie believes that she deserves to be at the very top of the Star Wars food chain so much that she actively hates anyone who has surpassed her, based on the sole reason that they simply have, and not for any justifiable personal reason. I also think that the political correctness Mollie enforces commonly has something to do with it too. I mean, think about it. I imagine a lot of left-leaning people believe without a shadow of a doubt that their way of thinking is absolutely correct, and anyone else is just wrong. It's my way or the highway, in other words. And anyone who disagrees with me is utterly wrong and an alt-right, and a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And it just keeps going where you're so entrenched in your beliefs that you are never flexible or able to see how someone else sees the world. Because guess what? The world doesn't revolve around you, and you've got to be open to other mindsets, no matter how wrong you think they are. That's the reality of the world we live in, and it's how you react to it that demonstrates who you are as a person. Mollie has shown she is someone who is prone to silencing opposition. Both extremes of the political spectrum, after all, do overlap, and Mollie being extreme left pretty much overlaps with a far-right dictator. She sought to punish people for punishing opinions, under the guise of misogyny and racism. And because she is so stuck up, she can't see herself or anyone in her camp doing anything wrong. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Disney is faking their representation. They're only getting diversity hires to make themselves look good, and also because it's commonly cheaper. That's what happened to Moses Ingram, and they, in reality, could not care less for Moses Ingram as a person. She was a weapon based on the color of her skin. That is what racism is. And of course, Mollie doesn't see it that way. But I have to wonder if Mollie deep down knows all this, but doesn't care either way, because she feels so righteous that she cannot admit that maybe it's not as black and white as she thinks. Demonetizing channels was purely out of spite, peppered on with the excuse that said content creators were bigots, and actively hated women and minorities. As Geeks and Gamers demonstrated in his video, as one of Mollie's targets, he was taken out of context in alleged harassment against Kelly Marie Tran. It also brings into question if Mollie has even seen any of the videos of the channels she targeted, or if she just looked up the titles of the videos and guessed what they said. Or maybe she thought she could lie in the hopes YouTube would be stupid enough to take her word, which only adds to the stuck-up nature of Mollie. It's unclear without a proper psychological assessment, so I will give you my best educated guess. Mollie is living in her own fantasy land, where she is the most righteous person on earth, with any opposing opinions being plain wrong. And she believes it so much that she at the very least supported demonetizing YouTube channels out of said belief, as well as believing that she should be number one on YouTube, as I doubt even being the most accomplished Star Wars YouTuber would be anywhere near enough. No, if they didn't surpass Mr. Beast, it wouldn't have been enough. But thinking about it, that would not be enough either, as that wouldn't have been good enough. If they became the most famous person ever in the history of the earth, it wouldn't be good enough. Mollie would have found something to be resentful for, despite being in an extremely privileged position. And as cheesy as it sounds, she was going towards the path of the Sith, because having a lot or even the most amount of power out of anyone currently is never truly satisfying. She keeps wanting more, and in her attempts to do so, tried to slow her rival channels down, and in the end, only ended up destroying himself. Now it will be a futile attempt to regain lost power. now that she's been caught red-handed. This is basically the scenario where people found out Palpatine's master plan to take over the galaxy. It was nothing more than an attempt to grow larger and stronger, becoming the ultimate YouTuber. But in the end, someone who has such ambitions without humility is destined to lose themselves. And unfortunately for us, Mollie Damon went down the path of evil. Thank you for listening to this episode of Analyzing Evil. What do you think of Mollie Damon? Leave your thoughts below. And digit plagiarisms. And until next time, what are stories but mystery boxes?
Under the mountain, a golden fountain. Were you praying that the law is strong?